We're here at AUSA 2019 and I'm speaking with Wendy Staiger, Program Director, Stryker US Market, General Dynamics Land Systems. Wendy, we're standing beside two examples of Stryker in its A1 iteration. The one to my left has the SHORAD Air Defence Mission Equipment Package on it. The one to my right has the Kongsberg 30mm turret mission equipment package on it. Could you tell us a little bit about those two packages to start with, please?
Certainly. So the one on our right, the SHORAD package, is really started by the U.S. Army to address a gap in our forces for air defense. So this will be the first air defense package in a long number of years. This system is meant to address air targets, three different categories of those. We won't go into all that detail. It's part of an evolution of Stryker. So it is built on the DVH A1 Stryker platform. On my left, we have the Stryker DVH A1 with a Kongsberg 30mm turret. This program is a competition currently. GD is one of the competitors for the objective 30mm system for the U.S. Army. We have already delivered on the older flat bottom version 83 systems with a very similar Kongsberg turret that are in the U.S. Army inventory today.
And we said at the beginning of the interview, these two examples are based on the A1 iteration of Stryker. Now, Stryker has been around for 19, 20 years now. It's seen a lot of evolution over that time, and that's something that's quite difficult to keep track of. Could you take us back to the original Stryker and bring us up to date to the current Stryker and perhaps detail some of the more significant driveline, suspension and even hull changes that have happened to the product?
Certainly. So in the very beginning, first of all, know that Stryker evolved from the LAV program. The LAV program has been around for quite some time. In the 1999 timeframe, there was a competition looking at an interim solution for the Army for the middleweight category, if you will. It was a vision by General Shinseki at the time. General Dynamics won that competition. We went on to deliver 10 variants of what we'll refer to as a flat bottom configuration. Those vehicles had a 3126 engine. They had a 3.5 driveline. They had a requirement, one of the more difficult ones to meet, to get on a C-130, which drove a lot of the initial design. When the system went into Iraq and Afghanistan, we were, and our Army partners were seeing a lot of IEDs. At the time, there was a parallel program. The Army was already moving forward to improve the platform. At the time, we were in a position to be able to move the double V hull sooner than the initial program. So we, in essence, broke the Army's what was called SMOD program, and we pulled the DVH hull into the system. So we improved the driveline to a 5.5 or a 55,000 pound suspension. The vehicle had a C7 Caterpillar engine, was roughly a 350 horsepower engine. So while we moved forward with a much heavier hull, the rest of the improvements to the A1 were set aside for the moment and bringing that forward. The DVH A1 really brings the rest of those improvements that was already planned for the government back into the fold. So the A1 has a 450 horsepower engine and a 60,000 pound suspension. What that does is it brings the mobility of the platform and the performance of the mobility back to what it was in its earlier years when it was a much lighter platform. The system also brings in power management and improves the power management by providing a 910 amp alternator and a power management system inside the platform, making it much easier to add capability in the future. The last of the 4 improvements that the A1 brought forward was an in-vehicle network. So all that together really then provides the Army with more growth space on the platform itself, which they're leveraging with both the SHORAD and the 30 millimeter that are here today.
And while I wouldn't ask specifics, one would assume the DVH, the double V hull, that's for mine blast protection. One would assume that ballistic protection has also improved as the platform has grown.
So obviously we won't talk about survivability openly, but yes, the ability of the platform to sustain IEDs is significantly higher, and there have been evolutions on the ballistics as well.
And in addition to the more significant changes that you've outlined on the A1, are there any other smaller but perhaps no less significant changes that you can tell us about?
Sure. So the vehicle continues to evolve over time as we get into different environments. Soldiers have more experience with it. We're always looking and asking the soldiers what we can change. For example, the vehicle on my left, the 30 millimeter, has a spare wheel carrier. One of those items that you wouldn't think much about at the beginning, but came out of the field as an improvement that we would like to see. A couple of the other improvements that we have is extended jerry can brackets. So simply getting rid of a water buffalo by giving them more on-board water, right? Small thing, means a lot in the field. Now those are improvements that have been identified as part of our prototype, but those have not been issued to all the vehicles in the fleet. So the Army still needs to make a decision on where those improvements are going to go.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed.